Sometimes the most unforgettable stories are not about fame or television success, but about the quiet moments when people stand beside each other through pain and uncertainty. Jenna Bush Hager recently became part of one of those deeply emotional journeys as she supported her close friend and colleague through an incredibly difficult chapter of life. What began as concern behind the scenes slowly became a story about friendship, resilience, grief, and healing. Audiences connected with the situation because it revealed the humanity behind familiar television personalities people welcome into their homes every day. Rather than hiding emotions or pretending everything was fine, Jenna and those around her approached the experience with honesty and compassion. Their story reminded viewers that even public figures experience heartbreak, fear, and emotional challenges just like everyone else. More importantly, it highlighted how support, understanding, and connection can help people move forward even after life changes in unimaginable ways. Jenna Bush Hager's reputation for honesty and warmth. Over the years, Jenna Bush Hager has earned admiration not simply because of her television career, but because of the sincerity she brings into every conversation. Audiences have always viewed her as approachable, kind-hearted, and emotionally genuine. Whether discussing family life, personal experiences, or emotional struggles, she speaks in a way that feels natural and deeply relatable. That authenticity has allowed people to trust her in ways many public personalities never achieve. Instead of maintaining a distant or polished image, she often shares moments that reveal vulnerability and humanity. This openness became especially meaningful during the difficult experiences surrounding her close friend. Jenna's support did not feel performative or scripted. It felt deeply personal and heartfelt. Viewers noticed how emotionally invested she was in helping someone she cared about navigate grief and transition. Her ability to show empathy publicly while still respecting the emotional weight of the situation reflected why so many people continue connecting with her presence on television and in broader conversations about life and resilience. The quiet beginning of a difficult chapter. The emotional story truly began when Jenna's longtime colleague quietly stepped away from television to focus on a serious family health situation. At the time, very little information was shared publicly, leaving many viewers confused and concerned about the sudden absence. Behind closed doors, however, a family was navigating an incredibly painful medical journey involving a devastating illness. While audiences speculated about the situation, Jenna understood the emotional reality unfolding privately. She knew her friend was carrying enormous fear, exhaustion, and uncertainty while trying to remain strong for her family. During those months, Jenna continued supporting her quietly without drawing attention to herself or the circumstances. That period reflected the kind of friendship that often matters most during life's hardest moments. Instead of offering public statements or dramatic reactions, she remained emotionally present behind the scenes. The silence surrounding the situation also highlighted how many personal struggles unfold privately long before the world learns the full story, especially when families are trying to protect loved ones while processing painful realities. The loss that touched millions of hearts. When news eventually emerged that the illness had ended in heartbreaking loss, the emotional response from viewers and colleagues was immediate and overwhelming. People across the country felt sorrow not only for the family involved, but also for the visible pain shared by those closest to them. The loss became especially emotional because audiences had watched these personalities become part of their daily routines for years. Jenna's reaction reflected genuine heartbreak rather than professional obligation. Her compassion and emotional support reminded viewers how deeply friendships can form between coworkers who share years of experiences together. The situation also brought broader awareness to the devastating impact serious illnesses can have on families emotionally and physically. Instead of becoming sensationalized media coverage, the story focused on love, remembrance, and support. That emotional honesty allowed many viewers to connect the story to their own experiences with grief and caregiving. In many ways, the public response became less about celebrity and more about shared human emotion and understanding during difficult times, finding courage in returning to the spotlight. After months away from the public eye, the emotional return to television became a deeply moving moment for audiences and colleagues alike. It was not simply about resuming work. It symbolized the difficult process of stepping forward after profound grief and learning how to exist within a changed reality. Jenna welcomed her friend back with visible warmth and support, helping create an environment filled with encouragement rather than pressure. Viewers connected strongly with the emotional honesty surrounding the return, because it reflected how healing often happens gradually rather than perfectly. One especially touching detail involved honoring the memory of a loved one through something deeply personal before stepping back into public life. That small yet powerful gesture resonated with many people because it reflected how grief and love often remain connected. Jenna's supportive presence throughout that transition showed the importance of companionship during moments when someone is trying to rediscover confidence and purpose after devastating emotional loss. The moment became a symbol of resilience, remembrance, and emotional courage. Conversations about illness that felt human and real. Another reason this story resonated so deeply was because Jenna consistently created space for thoughtful and compassionate conversations about illness, healing, and emotional survival. Through interviews and personal discussions, she approached sensitive topics with empathy rather than dramatic intensity. One meaningful conversation involved an author openly discussing her own cancer experience and the emotional challenges that came with diagnosis and treatment. Jenna listened carefully, allowing the discussion to unfold naturally and respectfully. Her interviewing style focused on emotional understanding rather than sensational details, which helped viewers feel comforted rather than overwhelmed. These conversations became important because they reminded audiences that illness affects people emotionally, mentally, and relationally, not only physically. Jenna's ability to hold emotional space for difficult stories reflected one of her greatest strengths as a communicator. Instead of avoiding painful subjects, she approached them with gentleness and compassion. That authenticity helped create meaningful connections with viewers who may have been facing similar experiences within their own families, friendships, or personal health journeys, turning grief into strength and new beginnings. As time passed, the emotional focus slowly shifted from loss alone toward healing, growth, and rebuilding life after tragedy. Both Jenna and her colleague began speaking more openly about resilience, personal transformation, and finding strength within difficult circumstances. The conversations surrounding grief evolved into reflections on rediscovering identity and purpose after heartbreak. Rather than pretending sadness had disappeared, they acknowledged that healing often involves learning how to carry grief while continuing to move forward. Jenna played an important role in helping create opportunities for emotional renewal and professional growth. Their partnership moving forward represented not just career collaboration, but emotional trust forged during one of life's most painful experiences. Viewers connected deeply with this chapter because it reflected something universally human, the ability to rebuild hope after loss. The emotional honesty surrounding their journey helped many people feel less alone in their own struggles. Their story became a reminder that even after devastating experiences, people can still discover moments of connection, strength, laughter, and renewed purpose with the support of others. A reminder that humanity matters more than perfection. At the center of this story is a simple but powerful reminder that authenticity and compassion still matter deeply to people. Jenna Bush Hager's role throughout this emotional journey reflected empathy, emotional honesty, and genuine care rather than polished television performance. Audiences responded strongly because they saw real friendship, real grief, and real resilience unfolding naturally in front of them. The story became meaningful not because of celebrity status or media attention, but because it reflected universal human experiences that so many people understand personally. Loss, emotional struggle, healing, and friendship are experiences shared across every background and stage of life. Jenna's willingness to approach those realities openly helped create conversations that felt comforting and sincere rather than distant or scripted. In a world often filled with surface-level distractions, this story reminded viewers that emotional connection remains one of the most powerful things people can offer one another. Ultimately, the lasting impact came not from headlines, but from the reminder that kindness, vulnerability, and support can help people endure even life's most painful moments.